Hi, everybody, and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Nancy Byrne, and we are coming to you from my house. So I'm going to apologize in advance for any collar jingling or barking you might hear throughout the show. But the reason we are here is because I live in the northwest part of the city. So I know I'm not alone when I say I do a lot of driving around that huge Centennial Bowl construction project. I'll also be the first to admit I do a lot of heaving of sighs and rolling of eyes when I get there. Orange cones, barricades. Also, something that strikes me when I drive through there and I look up at these construction workers is the danger they put themselves in to get their job done. So I contacted our friends at NDOT and asked them for a behind-the-scenes look. They let me cross that very thin line between the workers and high-speed traffic, and I've got to tell you, I gained a whole new appreciation for what they do, and I wanted to share it with you. If you do any traveling in the northwest part of the valley, you are certainly familiar with this massive highway construction project called the Centennial Bowl, one of the largest projects in the state and one of the fastest growing parts of our city.
Upon completion, the Centennial Bowl interchange will consist of 20 bridges in total over 3 levels up to nearly 80 feet tall from grade. It'll be one of the biggest interchanges in the state once it finishes. So it's a mammoth undertaking.
But like any mammoth undertaking, it causes headaches of mammoth proportions to the motorists who live, work, and shop in this area. Much of the work is done 20 feet or more above rushing traffic. Some of the workers are right next to 60 to 70 mile an hour vehicles with nothing but a few feet and a concrete barrier separating them from injury or worse. And it's not unusual to see workers guiding 1,500-pound loads of supplies from a crane to the ground with their hands. This is a job not for the faint of heart.
This job could be very dangerous. A lot of the carpenters will work at elevations of 30 for 40 feet.
Brian Bogenheimer and Tony Illia of the Nevada Department of Transportation took us on what you could call a behind-the-scenes tour of the $150 million project. Now, there are always safety precautions in place, but for a project like this, it's like safety on steroids.
We always make sure we have proper flooring. If we do not have proper rails in place, they always wear their protective equipment. So if they fell, the arresting gear would stop them. But it's dangerous. And now we're getting into the part of the summer where heat stroke, heat exhaustion is a very important thing.
Bogenheimer says they can't control the weather, but they can control the working hours during the hottest times of the year. He says the steel crew starts at about 3 a.m., the rest of the workers at 4 a.m. They also can't control motorists. Speed limit signs are posted in construction zones with promises of hefty speeding fines, but that doesn't mean they're obeyed.
Even though there's a piece of portable concrete barrier rail between them and the workers, a car doing 60 miles an hour will move that barrier rail extremely quick, if not just fly over the barrier rail completely. It does put a lot of the workers at risk. It would be awesome if the motorists in the construction zones could follow the reduced speed limit signs. And every now and then we ask Nevada Highway Patrol to come out and just help send that message to the motorists.
Keeping these workers safe should be our #1 incentive for taking it easy when traveling around them. But along with that, we can keep in mind that after all this construction is completed, we will all benefit greatly from the finished product. Tony Illia sums up the convenience the Centennial Bowl will provide.
Motorists will be able to create direct links from 95 to 215 and 215 to 95. Now, previously, they had to navigate a series of surface streets, go through stop signs, maybe sit through a traffic signal. So it became stop and go, and traffic would back up onto mainline 95. With this, they can make a seamless connection from one freeway to the next.
And all those businesses you now see from the 95, but you feel like you just don't know exactly how to access them? Well, that will change too.
And one of the hidden gems here in this final phase, which is the biggest phase of all the phases, is creating more access and mobility to some of these surface streets so that people can readily access those stores or businesses that they want to frequent.
So it's not really a matter of whether or not this project is needed. it is.
The ramps here at 95 and 215 already see 100,000 vehicles daily, and that number is only expected to grow here over the next 2 decades.
So while we're biting the bullet with some traffic headaches, let's try to remember this will be great in 2024 when it's completed. In the meantime, we can all help keep it on schedule by practicing patience and caution when we are in these work zones.
We do everything we possibly can to ensure they're safe, and it's our responsibility before we even start to go, okay, this is a safe environment. And anybody at any time could say, I don't feel safe. We'll stop operations in that area and we'll make them feel safe.
I have some really interesting stats to pass on from Tony Ilya of NDOT, so pardon my cheat sheet. There's a lot of numbers here. This project created 1,700 jobs, either directly, indirectly, or induced jobs. And by the time the final project is done in 2024, they will have used 27 million cubic yards of concrete, which is 560 times the size of the rotunda in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. This project is being funded by county, federal, and state funds. Now, on the next City Beat, we're headed downtown where, as you know, there's a lot more construction going on. We're going to talk about some of the dangers those workers face and the many steps the city of Las Vegas takes to make sure they're safe and we are inconvenienced as little as possible. We're going to turn now to the summer heat and our pets. Ours are listening very, very closely right now. Now imagine it's summer and you step outside in a fur coat and no shoes. Keep in mind that when our air temperature is, say, 100 degrees, that means the pavement is about 160 degrees. It takes 125 degrees to do permanent damage to the skin. Recently, we attended a press conference where it was reiterated once again that summertime is not a good time for your pets to be outdoors. This apparatus bay at Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Station 1 looked like a little doggy fashion show. You could call it dogs strutting their fashion footwear on the catwalk. But there was a serious side to this adorable gathering of dogs and their owners. Walking your pet outside in the heat is dangerous, possibly deadly.
The pads of dogs' feet can easily become burned. Pavement in direct sunlight is hot enough to cause second and third degree burns.
Chief Louis Molina of the city's Department of Public Safety joined Las Vegas Fire and Rescue and Councilman Cedric Creer to tell pet owners we must stop and think before we head outside in the heat with our beloved animals.
Every single year, I always say it takes just a little bit more out of me as we go into this summer season. It just gets extremely hot, bottom line. But new residents may not know how to safely cope. And in addition, longtime residents can always use a refresher to make sure that we do not forget about the dangers that these extreme temperatures bring to all of us.
Fire emergency staff receive calls every day reporting either a dog being left outside, walked outside, or left in a car.
We experience 1 to 2 calls a day, sometimes even up to 50. And the men and women in the back of this room are the ones that are called to deal with those that need to be extricated or removed from a situation where they were left. So I'm imploring to all of you to be cognizant of how hot it is here in Nevada.
And while these doggy duds were getting a lot of the attention at this press conference, it was the overall safety of our pets that was the focus.
You know, it's important to share with you that pets can get dehydrated very quickly, so give them plenty of fresh, clean water, and don't take them for walks during the hot parts of the day.
As for walking your dog, the morning is the best time when pavement has had time to cool off overnight. It can remain dangerously hot well after the sun sets in the evening, even if you do have booties on their feet. Dogs, and it goes without saying, kids should never be left in a hot car. And if you intend to leave your pet outside in the excessive heat, be prepared to answer for it. The Las Vegas City Council recently strengthened the laws to protect our pets.
By requiring cooling devices. When temperature is expected to reach 105 degrees, we want pet owners to use misters, swamp coolers, or air conditioners to keep our pets cool. No animal can be tethered or restrained for more than 10 hours in a 24-hour period, and absolutely no animal can be tethered during a National Weather Service heat advisory because it puts them at great risk.
Here are the signs of your pet overheating: excessive panting, difficulty breathing, increased heart and respiratory rates, excessive drooling, weakness, and even collapsing. If If you don't get your dog to safety in the very early stages, the consequences can be deadly. Our pets rely on us for everything: gentle training, food, water, proper medical care, and shelter. These are just the basics every day of the year. They are vital in the summer heat. Chief Molina says if you ever see a pet, and of course a child, in a car unattended, call 911 immediately. Our emergency workers will treat this as a top emergency and get there as quickly as possible. Now, as for the pavement, when you go outside, put the back of your hand against the pavement. If you can't keep your hand there for 5 seconds, well, it's too hot for your pet's paws. Well, one good thing about this time of year is that there is a training that our Las Vegas Fire and Rescue cadets go through that they actually enjoy in the heat. It's when they head out to Wet and Wild to train on swift water rescue. Our photographer, editor, Eric Sorensen got up close and personal to see that this training is fun, but it's also very serious.
Today we came out to Wet and Wild to do some swift water and water orientation for the recruit class. There's a couple of different things that we're doing here. First is just to get them used to being in the water. Some of them have not been in the water. If they have, it's been on a limited basis. So to get them out here to get familiar with the water, see how they are and how they'll react. Some other things that we do here is that we teach them some different techniques for swift water rescuing.
Get your bag wet. You see the victim coming, you want to throw it at him or a little behind him or upriver. Bro, grab the rope. Wait. All the weight's going to come from here, and it's just going to pendulum him into the side.
There was a patient or a person that was trapped in a moving body of water. We would throw them a rope, and this way we get them some practice out here. Throw them a rope, the person would retrieve that rope, and then we would pull them in.
I'm going to demonstrate bad technique first, right? I'm going swim, I'm going a little too slow.
Say we're in a moving body of water, and then there's an obstacle that is in that body of water. And we're teaching them a tactic to where we will swim towards that and essentially push ourselves up and over that obstacle.
It's not strong here, but in real life it's strong, okay? So you're holding him down.
Well, the ones that we had out here was this is more of a shallow water rescue to where we go out in a V.
Right, left, right, left.
Then we use the paddles or oars to go out to essentially rescue that person and put them into behind the wake of the water and help them get out. We worked on some C-spine immobilization where we put them on a backboard out here in the lake, and then we secure their head and we work as a team carrying them out of the water. Overall, at the Academy, they're doing well. We've been progressing. You know, we often like to use the words we crawl, you know, then we walk, and then we run, right? So right now we're basically at that running stage, and the group that we have left is a good group, and they're progressing. We've got, I think, approximately 4 weeks left to graduation.
Thank you, Eric Sorensen, for that story. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're headed over to the parking lot at Cashman to find out about something else that I know my pets and your pets are interested in, as well as many others here in our community, and that is the dangers of illegal fireworks. Stay with us. Congratulations to the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month, Gregory Gray. Greg is a community program technician who works to help those in need in our community. He works closely with our communications department, where many inquiries come in through our social media channels, from residents desperately looking for help, people in need of food and water, people not knowing where to turn. Greg's kindness to these individuals is unparalleled. He personally reaches out in every case to offer whatever service he can and to help connect them to the proper resources. Greg has been helping our city's social media team assist residents for years, and of course, over the last year, he has really stepped it up even more as the number of people in need grew during the pandemic. For affecting and improving each life he touches, Greg is making a true difference in our community. For that, we say thank you and congratulations to Greg Gray, the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Hi everybody, welcome back to City Beat. I am with my sometimes co-host, Melanie Denon with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue. Not only a fire inspector, but a public education coordinator.
Yes.
It's that time of year again, and we're talking about this again. And this year, my gosh, historic drought conditions. So
Yes.
it's even more important to listen to every word that comes out of her mouth. Let's talk about the safe and sane, and then the ones that are illegal in our area.
Yeah, especially with the excessive heat we're having this year, fire risk is so high right now.
Yeah.
It's so dry and it's so hot, and then we have a lot of wind right now too, and wind fuels fire. We've had a couple fires just in the last week where one house caught on fire and the wind took it a couple blocks away and caught another home on fire in Henderson. So fireworks are huge, especially this time of year. Everything's opening up, people are wanting to get back to normal life, but people need to be aware that fireworks are extremely dangerous. Even the safe and sane fireworks could have potentially catastrophic results if they're not used properly. So we just had a house night before last. 4 people lost their homes and 11 animals were killed because of careless fireworks. So we need to be safe. So the difference between safe and sane, or what we call legal in Clark County, are these fireworks here. They're mostly fountains, a shower, like a little fountain or a little shower of sparks, sparklers, the little handheld, anything that becomes aerial, becomes off the ground, explodes, ladyfingers, anything like that. Firecrackers, those are illegal because they are technically an explosive. These do not explode.
Key words to look for on fireworks not legal in Clark County are shoots or fireballs. Safe and sane keywords are fountain or spray. Melanie starts off showing us safe and sane fireworks like this sword that when lit becomes a giant sparkler. Safe and sane, but still requiring adult supervision.
Make sure if your kids are playing with stuff like this, they're not putting it in other children's faces. It looks fun, it's shaped like a sword, but you don't want them to be swinging it around and getting it near other children. You don't want them sword fighting with something like this.
When the sparkler stops, that does not mean it's safe.
You can see that the cardboard is actually caught on fire and is burning.
It should be doused and left in the water for 24 hours. In fact, a large bucket or trash can filled with water should always be close by when doing any fireworks. Another important reminder, safe and sane can still be unsafe and unpredictable. Take this legal firework. It starts off as it should, but is that supposed to happen?
No. So even the safe and sane and legal fireworks, anything can happen.
We move on to the fireworks that are not legal for use in Clark County. Again, these are fireworks that project, leave the ground, and cannot be controlled when they do, especially in breezy or windy conditions or when set off on uneven ground.
You're going to see the volatile nature of these and how you cannot control them.
While it goes off, debris flies everywhere, still hot and potentially fire starters. These types of fireworks are dangerous, but one of the worst illegal products are mortars.
People like to tie these together to try and make a larger firework. What happens, unfortunately, when you do that is you create, you change what it's initially supposed to be, and this goes for safe and sane also. Anytime you try to alter them by any way, by taping them together, tying them together, you create a bomb, and it becomes a federal offense if you are caught doing it.
A couple of other things to keep in mind. The fiberglass tubes used to propel these mortars can become shrapnel if misused.
People try and overload them, or they use them multiple times for multiple mortars. It will shatter and it will hurt somebody seriously.
Also, the fuses can be unpredictable. Melanie Denon is an expert, with several experts surrounding her, including a member of Las Vegas Fire and Rescue's bomb squad. But even that can't protect her from an unexpectedly short and fast fuse.
That's a very fast fuse. I barely had time to get out of the way. I actually felt the fuse sparks on my hand.
No one wants to take the fun out of anyone's celebrations, but in a year of historic drought and monsoon systems that bring nothing but wind and dry lightning, when the animal shelter is already full of animals and expecting hundreds more that try to run away from the noise, And with soldiers that suffer from PTSD and can't stand the sound of explosives, this is no fun.
So we're going to have fireworks enforcement again this year, like we do every year. So we will be going into neighborhoods, and there is a fine for shooting off illegal fireworks. There will be citations. So, you know, you're going to lose your fireworks plus pay a citation on top of that. It's just not worth the risk.
Right. And sometimes if there's a lot, there's like a disposal fee that goes along with it.
There can be, yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right, so everyone go sit, watch, let the professionals do it.
Yes.
If you're going to do the little sprinklers, fine.
Yeah.
But you saw how Melanie doused it, not just for a minute, but left it in there. So
soak it for 24 hours.
Please be careful and keep your pets inside and try to stay with them if you can. Thanks, Melanie.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Keep in mind, if you experience illegal fireworks in your neighborhood, go to ispyfireworks.com and report it. Even if the fire department does not get there in time to cite the offenders, a record is kept of the most reports for next year, and that is where they'll concentrate their patrolling efforts.
No more pencils, no more books. No more teachers' dirty looks. School's out for summer. School's out forever. School's out with fever. School's out completely.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%. And it can happen in every place.
School's out for summer.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Welcome back to City Beat, everyone, and welcome to my home. 4 swimmers from the Las Vegas swim team, the Sandpipers, are going to the Olympics in Japan. 4 of those swimmers swept the Olympic trials back on June 19th in Omaha, Nebraska. And as Sue Levitt tells us, one of those swimmers will be entering the Olympics as one of the youngest swimmers ever at the age of 15.
Back on June 19th at the Olympic trials, Olympic champion Katie Ledecky swimming in the 4th lane in the 800-meter freestyle. Las Vegas Sandpiper swimmers Erica Sullivan and Bella Sims were on opposite sides of her, with Katie Grimes in lane 8.
That race for second, coming down to the wall, very close, and it will be Grimes making the team, 15 years old, Tokyo bound.
15-year-old Katie Grimes qualifies in the 800-meter freestyle, finishing second to the great Katie Ledecky.
Katie Grimes gonna join the Katie in Tokyo.
Grimes will swim as the youngest American Olympic swimmer since Ledecky in 2012, who was 15 at the time. The Sandpipers Las Vegas Swim Club wound up qualifying 4 swimmers for the Olympics. Grimes in the 800, Sullivan in the 1500, Sims in the 800 free relay, and another Sandpiper swimmer, Bo Becker, made the Olympics in the 400 free relay. After the trials and back in their hometown of Las Vegas, the 3 female Olympic swimmers took time to meet with the media.
I'm just excited to go in there and if there's one thing that Team USA gets done, it's bringing home some hardware. So, I mean, I think we're all going to do what we can to achieve that goal.
All three girls have more than worked hard to achieve their Olympic goal. Sullivan has struggled emotionally after losing her father to esophageal cancer in 2017, and Sims didn't even begin swimming until 6 years ago.
10 was started when I started swimming, period. And then at the end of the year, I went to my first meet and got DQ'd in every single event. Because I was never taught to do a two-hand touch.
Grimes, who has become the spotlight of this year's swimming trials, was struggling to win races against her own teammates in practice just 6 months ago. But these three pulled it together and showed up big in Omaha, all three qualifying for the Olympics, something a swim coach doesn't see every day.
All three of them are going to get to train with the world's best. And so every day they get to get in there and see what the top U.S. swimmers are doing. And even that, not that they need to see that, but they're going to build even more confidence being in a practice with a Ledecky, being in a practice, with all these other girls that have been there before, and really be able to move forward with that kind of confidence is even better.
And having the confidence of Olympic champion Katie Ledecky, calling Katie Grimes the future and the now, means the world to the 15-year-old Las Vegas native.
Well, she's like the best there is. So for her to say that to me was very touching. And just beyond that, she's an incredible person. She's so kind and welcoming for, who she is. Like, I've looked up to her for as long as I've been swimming. So for her to talk to me, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just so excited to train with her and stuff like that and race with her. So, this is going to be incredible. It's like a dream come true.
The Sandpipers work out at Pavilion Pool right here in Summerlin, just inside Councilwoman Siemens' Ward 2. The Councilwoman is, of course, very supportive of the team and proud to present them with certificates from the city as they head off to the Summer Games in Tokyo. For City Beat, I'm Sue Levitt.
Aside from those four swimmers that Sue featured in that story, it seems that the Las Vegas area is a hot spot for outstanding athletes. Here is a list of other athletes going to the Summer Olympics. Well, that does it for another City Beat. We want to remind you as we go back and look at some of our stories, watch out for our construction workers, watch out for our pets in the heat. Please be careful even if you are using safe and sane fireworks. And we'll see you right back here for the next City Beat. Find out what's going on all over the city of Las Vegas by subscribing to the City Beat e-newsletter. Simply scan this QR code to get a preview of each show twice a month.